At the center of this part is Captain Jace Arlen, a human who represents the unique qualities of humanity: resilience, adaptability, and unpredictability. Qualities that the galaxy, despite its advanced civilizations, has not fully understood or appreciated. The story opens with Jace stepping into the luminescent chamber of the Intergalactic Matchmaking Council, an organization that is both ceremonial and highly strategic. The chamber itself is described as glowing with alien energy, suggesting both sophistication and authority. From the outset, the environment signals to the reader that this is not just a casual meeting or a lighthearted scenario. The Council is a powerful body, and their role in matching species highlights the depth of interstellar culture and social politics. This setting reinforces the alienness of the world, emphasizing that humans are entering a universe that operates on entirely different rules that Jace must navigate. The narrative immediately contrasts the human with the alien context. Humans are depicted as unpredictable and illogical, traits that are often seen as weaknesses by other species. Yet the Council's experiment in interspecies matchmaking hints at a deeper theme. The galaxy underestimates humanity. This sets up the HFY, humans are special element, as readers already sense that Jace's human traits may become strengths later. The Council's insistence on testing humans through romantic compatibility adds a humorous yet high-stakes twist. It suggests that love and emotional intelligence can be as significant as diplomacy or combat in interstellar affairs, a concept that will be expanded in later parts. Into this formal and tense setting enters Zyra Velkari, the alien girl whose very presence exudes authority and charm. She is described as both dangerous and alluring, with violet eyes that shine like stars and a smirk that signals complete control. These descriptors immediately establish her as a character of power and intelligence, someone who could easily intimidate or manipulate. Her smirk and confident declaration, "You belong to me, human. Your love training starts immediately," introduce conflict and tension while also conveying her commanding personality. Unlike typical romance stories where the human might be the one pursuing or winning over the alien, here the dynamic is reversed. Jace is thrust into a position of learning, submission, and adaptation, creating a unique narrative hook. Jace's reaction further reinforces the human qualities that define the HFY theme. Though he is temporarily startled and hesitant, he approaches the situation analytically, likening it to a battlefield. His internal thought process, assessing threats, calculating options, and preparing to survive, signals to the reader that human resourcefulness is universal, whether facing combat, political intrigue, or alien cultural norms. The humor in his unsteady response, "Yes, ma'am," contrasts with his previous experiences in intergalactic combat and survival, highlighting the novelty of emotional and romantic challenges compared to physical ones. This combination of humor and humility makes Jace relatable and endearing to readers while emphasizing the stark difference between human instincts and alien expectations. Zyra's strategy in this introduction is subtle but important. She exerts control through authority and mystery, implying consequences without spelling them out, which tests Jace's courage and adaptability. This mirrors human experiences of facing unknown challenges. The unknown can be intimidating, but humans have a tendency to rise to the occasion, adapt, and even turn such challenges into opportunities. The tension between Zyra's control and Jace's adaptive intelligence forms the narrative engine for the story. Finally, Part 1 establishes the central premise: the galaxy is structured, ceremonial, and rigid, whereas humans are unpredictable and flexible. This sets the stage for the HFY theme. Humans, though underestimated, possess traits that allow them to navigate situations that aliens consider insurmountable. The chapter closes with anticipation. How will Jace survive and even thrive under the mentorship or dominance of Zira? This question propels the story forward and hooks the reader into wanting to see humans and aliens interact in ways that challenge both cultures. Of the story shifts from introduction to action and development, focusing on the first phase of Jace Arlen's love training under Zira Velkari. This part is essential because it establishes the central mechanism through which human ingenuity and adaptability shine, while also deepening the character dynamics and reinforcing the HFY theme. The part begins with Jace being immersed in alien social norms, a world vastly different from human society. These norms are described as intricate and multi-layered, involving ritualized gestures, emotional subtleties, and even telepathic cues that humans biologically cannot detect. This immediately signals to the reader that the challenge is not merely romantic but also cultural, intellectual, and emotional. The story cleverly positions humans as species capable of navigating complex systems, not because they understand them immediately, but because of their resilience and willingness to adapt. This is a classic HFY element. The human's adaptability becomes a superpower in an environment that values rigidity and precision. The narrative escalates the challenge by introducing a formal gathering of Velkari aristocrats. Here, the stakes are elevated. Failure in such a social arena could lead to embarrassment or even political consequences. The situation is both high pressure and unfamiliar, emphasizing Jace's vulnerability and the alienness of the environment. From a storytelling perspective, this scene works on multiple levels. It provides humor, Jace's clumsy interactions with drinks and alien pets, tension, the social consequences of mistakes, and a vivid illustration of alien culture. The humor is important. It humanizes Jace, making him relatable, and subtly reinforces the idea that humans can handle chaos in ways aliens do not anticipate. Zira's role in Part 2 is particularly revealing. She does not scold or punish Jace for his missteps. Instead, she leans close, whispering, "Humans are fascinating. You have no fear of looking foolish." This moment is critical for character development. It highlights Zira's curiosity and admiration for human resilience, showing a shift from viewing Jace as a project to seeing him as a unique individual. The whisper is intimate, creating tension and foreshadowing a bond that will develop in later parts. Additionally, it reinforces one of the HFY themes. Humans are remarkable because they persist, experiment, and adapt, even when faced with overwhelming challenges. The narrative emphasizes the process of learning through trial and error. Jace fumbles, makes mistakes, but continues to observe, ask questions, and mirror Zira's movements. This is critical because it illustrates a core HFY principle. Humans may not have innate knowledge of alien systems, but they possess the cognitive flexibility to decode and master them through persistence and creativity. The author intentionally contrasts human learning with alien rigidity, where Velkari elites rely on memorized protocols and strict hierarchies. Jace improvises, experiments, and adapts, turning his initial clumsiness into a distinct advantage. Part 2 also builds tension by showing that Zira is surprised by his progress. While the Velkari system is structured and expects predictable results, Jace begins to learn faster than anticipated. The narrative carefully notes that humans are reckless, chaotic, but startlingly effective. This not only develops Jace as a character, but also subtly warns the reader and Zira that human unpredictability is a force to be reckoned with, an HFY hallmark. It plants the seeds for future scenes where Jace's unconventional thinking will yield victories in scenarios that aliens believe are impossible. Another important aspect of this part is the emerging human-alien dynamic. The initial authority of Zira is challenged by Jace's willingness to engage, learn, and even question when appropriate. This sets up a relationship that is more balanced than a simple master-student scenario. The interplay between her control and his adaptability creates tension, chemistry, and a compelling narrative arc. The reader begins to sense that the story will evolve from structured training into something deeper: mutual respect, trust, and eventually affection. Finally, Part 2 reinforces the story's overarching HFY message: humans thrive in chaos. Jace's mistakes are not failures. They are learning opportunities. His resilience, creativity, and fearless approach to embarrassment make him a standout among species that value precision and predictability. Through humor, action, and subtle emotional cues, the story demonstrates that human qualities are not just survival traits. They are transformative forces capable of influencing even the most rigid alien systems. Marks a critical turning point in the story, shifting from training and adaptation to testing and demonstration of human ingenuity. This section is designed to show not only Jace's growth as a student of alien culture and etiquette, but also how human qualities, creativity, unpredictability, and resilience become a decisive advantage in an alien-dominated environment. At the outset, Zyra decides to orchestrate a formal challenge to evaluate Jace's progress. This challenge is a negotiation with a notoriously cunning alien ambassador, known throughout the galaxy for exploiting emotional weaknesses. From a narrative perspective, this scenario functions as a crucible. It compresses the stakes into a single, high-pressure event that forces Jace to apply everything he has learned. Unlike previous training exercises, which were controlled and observed in familiar settings, this task pushes him into a social combat zone, where failure could result in humiliation, loss of favor, or worse. This structure is effective because it mirrors the kinds of tests humans often face in real-world HFY narratives, overcoming overwhelming odds using intelligence, intuition, and courage rather than raw power. The negotiation scene highlights a central HFY theme: humans thrive because they are unpredictable. Whereas Velkari and other alien species rely on protocol, hierarchy, and calculated responses, Jace responds dynamically, improvising with humor, subtle human gestures, and social intuition. These behaviors, which might seem naive or clumsy, in isolation collectively disarm the ambassador. The ambassador expects rigidity or conventional tactics. Instead, Jace introduces a chaotic variable that throws the negotiation off balance. This is a classic HFY narrative device. Human creativity and spontaneity, often underestimated by advanced civilizations, become the ultimate advantage. Part 3 also explores Zyra's perspective in a significant way. Initially, she viewed Jace as a trainee, a project she could mold according to her will and the Council's protocols. However, witnessing him navigate the negotiations successfully triggers a subtle shift in her attitude. She begins to recognize that humans operate on a different set of rules not bound by protocol or fear of failure. This realization is key for both the HFY theme and the romantic subplot. By acknowledging Jace's capability, Zyra's respect grows, creating a foundation for trust and eventual emotional connection. It also establishes tension. Her control over him is challenged, and she must reconcile her admiration with her desire to maintain authority. The narrative emphasizes the human learning process. In Part 2, Jace was still absorbing alien customs and rituals. In Part 3, he begins applying them strategically. This demonstrates the evolution from passive learning to active mastery, a hallmark of HFY storytelling. Humans are not just learners, they are adaptable problem solvers who convert knowledge into action, often in unpredictable ways. The ambassador's concession at the end of the negotiation is not merely a plot device, it is proof that human creativity can outperform rigid intelligence, a recurring theme that reinforces the species' unique place in the galaxy. Another critical aspect of Part 3 is the development of interpersonal dynamics between Jace and Zyra. While the training exercise is focused on etiquette and ritual, this challenge requires teamwork, observation, and mutual understanding. Zyra notices Jace practicing and refining his techniques independently, which signals both initiative and emotional investment. These subtle cues, his persistence, humor, and willingness to experiment, begin to erode the formal barrier between mentor and student, hinting at the emergence of mutual respect and affection. The story uses these interactions to prepare the reader for the romantic and emotional developments in subsequent parts, showing that HFY isn't just about human superiority in strength or skill, it's also about the capacity for deep connection across species. Part 3 also deepens the story's tension and stakes. By placing Jace in a high-pressure negotiation scenario, the narrative demonstrates that human qualities are not abstract virtues. They are practical tools for survival and success. The stakes are both personal, impressing Zira, completing the training, and political, securing favorable terms for Zyra's house and the council, which adds layers of complexity. This duality highlights an important HFY principle. Humans excel not only in raw physicality or resilience, but also in social intelligence and emotional adaptability, traits that aliens often undervalue. Finally, the chapter sets up the transition to Part 4, which will focus on shared experiences and emotional bonding. By demonstrating the human advantage in a competitive, high-stakes scenario, Part 3 builds anticipation for deeper personal developments. It shows that humans are more than their ability to survive. They are transformative agents in any environment, capable of influencing outcomes far beyond what aliens expect. In summary, Part 3 serves as the story's pivotal demonstration of human ingenuity and unpredictability, while advancing the HFY theme, building the romantic subplot, and escalating the stakes. Jace's success in the negotiation exemplifies the core HFY idea. Humans can thrive in situations where aliens cannot predict, control, or adapt, turning chaos into strength. Zyra's shifting perception of him signals the emergence of mutual respect and foreshadows emotional intimacy, preparing the narrative for the subsequent parts where the story evolves from training to genuine partnership. Of the story represents a significant shift from formal training and skill-based challenges to emotional growth and intimate connection. This section is pivotal because it explores the development of the human-alien bond beyond etiquette, negotiation, and strategy, emphasizing the HFY theme that humans excel not only through intelligence and adaptability, but also through empathy, courage, and emotional resilience. By this point, Jace has mastered much of the formal aspect of his training. He can navigate alien customs, anticipate social cues, and even succeed in high-stakes negotiations. However, Zyra recognizes that the true measure of interspecies love training is not technical proficiency. It is the ability to connect, trust, and understand each other across the vast cultural and biological divide. This part of the story moves the focus from public, performance-oriented challenges to private, shared experiences that allow both characters to reveal vulnerability, humor, and authenticity. The narrative emphasizes shared adventures as a mechanism for growth. Jace and Zyra engage in activities such as dancing under twin suns, exploring forests with distorted gravity, and surviving simulated predator hunts. Each activity serves multiple functions. It is physically and mentally challenging. It fosters teamwork, and it creates opportunities for organic emotional interaction. These experiences highlight human resilience in a new dimension. Beyond the battlefield or negotiation table, humans thrive in uncertainty and novelty, responding with curiosity and creativity rather than fear. By juxtaposing human adaptability with alien precision, the story reinforces the HFY theme. Humans are uniquely capable of turning chaotic circumstances into learning, growth, and even joy. Humor also plays a key role in Part 4. The story describes moments of clumsiness, misinterpretation, and playful banter between Jace and Zyra. While these moments may seem lighthearted, they are critical for character development. Humor allows Jace to bridge cultural gaps, disarm tension, and reveal his personality in ways that formal training never could. It also demonstrates that human charm and relatability are powerful tools in cross-species interactions. Zira, who is accustomed to control, hierarchy, and strict decorum, begins to see the value of spontaneity, laughter, and emotional honesty, qualities that humans wield effortlessly. Another key element of Part 4 is the deepening of mutual respect and admiration. Zyra observes Jace's persistence, curiosity, and willingness to engage with alien culture not for protocol, but because he genuinely cares for the process and, implicitly, for her. This is a critical turning point in their dynamic. While she once viewed him as a project, a trainee to mold according to Velkari expectations, she now recognizes his independent spirit, courage, and emotional intelligence. These qualities, often overlooked or underestimated by aliens, position Jace as an equal partner rather than a subordinate student. This reinforces the HFY idea that humans, while appearing ordinary or even vulnerable, possess inner strengths that allow them to excel in unexpected ways. The story also emphasizes the theme of emotional vulnerability. Zira, the confident and seemingly untouchable diplomat, begins to experience emotions she rarely allows herself to feel. Jace's humor, persistence, and resilience create a safe environment in which she can explore trust, affection, and connection. This is significant because it highlights the transformative power of human qualities. Humans can elicit growth, introspection, and vulnerability in even the most disciplined and experienced beings. In a sense, Jace's influence is not just about learning rituals or etiquette. It is about teaching Zira, intentionally or not, the value of emotional openness. Furthermore, Part 4 develops the romantic subplot organically. Unlike traditional romance stories that rely on sudden confessions or artificial tension, this part shows the relationship evolving naturally from shared experience, mutual challenge, and respect. By the end of the chapter, both characters understand that their connection extends beyond formal obligations. Zyra's acknowledgement, her internal realization that she wants Jace beside her, signals a transformation in both characters. Jace has grown into competence and confidence, and Zyra has allowed herself to embrace emotional complexity and attachment. Finally, Part 4 prepares the narrative for the climax and resolution in Part 5. The focus on shared experiences and emotional intimacy ensures that the story is not merely about humans excelling in alien culture, but also about humans shaping relationships and social dynamics through courage, authenticity, and adaptability. The stage is set for the Council's final evaluation and for the emergence of a fully realized interspecies partnership that demonstrates both human ingenuity and emotional depth. In summary, Part 4 is a transformational chapter. It shifts the story from skill-based training to emotional growth, exploring human resilience, adaptability, humor, and empathy in a complex alien environment. The chapter deepens the bond between Jace and Zyra, showcasing how human qualities, often underestimated, enable them to form trust, mutual respect, and affection. Part 4 encapsulates the HFY spirit by emphasizing that humans thrive not only in chaos and strategy, but also in emotional intelligence and connection, creating a narrative that is both compelling and heartwarming.